What's up guys, I'm back. How you going? Yeah, good, thanks. In today's video I'm going to show you how I groom my brows. So how I shape them, how I take the hair off, how I groom them, and yes, if you want to stay tuned for that, then darling, stay tuned. So to start, you will need a pair of scissors. You will also need a brow brush, like a spoolie, just like this. And if you have, you can get one of these eyebrow shavers. So I just bought this off Amazon. Okay, now normally I do have my eyebrow scissors, but I've just gone to look for them this morning and one of my kids have taken them out of my drawer. So I really need to do my brows, so I'm just going to substitute and use one of these. Okay, the idea is that you just have a pair of scissors that you can cut your hair with. All right, so let's start off. The first thing that I want to do, you can already see that I've got a general shape, so I just want to clean up. So I've got a few stray hairs over here and all under here, okay, but I'm going to follow the general shape. The other thing is that, see how my brow hair is really long? I don't like this because, you know, throughout the day that can happen. See how the hair actually comes down? It passes the line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim all that and make them look really sharp and snatched. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to push all the hairs up. Okay, now see how these little hairs actually cross over this main line. So what I'm going to do is just go there and cut down on the line, just like that, okay? So that when I brush up again, they don't cross over the line. Just like so, and chop. This is really good for people with bushy brows because if you have a lot of hairs here at the base, then it can get really messy and untidy. Okay, now the second part is that I'm going to brush all those hairs down because from the middle of your brow going towards a tail, naturally the hair grows down, okay? At the base, they grow up. From the middle to the tail, they grow down. So let's just naturally get them in the way that they grow. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cross. We're going to chop down. Okay. Sorry about my scissors, but these are my kids' scissors and they've got excess glue all over them. Tried to take it off with a wet wipe, tried to take off all the excess glue, but it wasn't possible. And I really need to get this tutorial done before my son wakes up. So there you go. So that makes a big difference because if you go ahead and you take all this hair off and all this and you don't trim your brows, then what can happen is if you've got long hairs and you're doing your makeup and stuff like that, those crossovers are it's going to look really ugly and messy. So you can see there now, there might be a few just on the ends. Now those ends, see how I'm just chopping and following the line, okay? Now we're going to get started. We're going to take off all of that excess hair around here. So let me just get rid of all of that excess hair. Okay. Now I'm not sure if you're able to see on the camera, but if I go really close, you can see all of these, like when I look in the mirror, I can see it. You can see all of these hairs right under the brow line and all on top of here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of all of that excess using one of these. So what I like to do is if you've never used one of these before, it's really, really simple. You've just got to go really nice and easy on the skin. Okay. Now, for this part, I like to go down and you can hear it. So, all right, now, and I'm going to stop right at the line. And this is easier than waxing your brows. If you can wax them or thread them, that's fine. But right now we are in the middle of a lockdown. Right here in Melbourne, Victoria, we cannot leave the house unless it's only for shopping. All beauty salons, hair salons are all shut down. But regardless of that, I've always done my own brows anyway. So, all right. This is very safe as long as you don't cut yourself. So I like to actually go down and then there's the top done. If you have a close up, you've gotten rid of all of that sort of fluff hair from the top, okay? And it does make a big difference if you've got hairy brows, believe me. All right, so the top is done. Now we have to do the bottom. So same thing, I like to just come down. Okay, go right up against the brow line. You can see all that hair coming off. I hope the camera's picking that up. Okay, right in there. So just go gently if you've never used one of these shavers before. All right, okay. Now, so that's all done. That's all clean there. Now we have to go here, and there's a lot of hairs just under here. So let's go right under the brow line and there you go. See how simple that was? Now these shavers are what people use for their face when they're actually taking all that bum fluff hair off their face, and I have used one of these before and they are great. So once they're trimmed, once all the hairs come off, now they're looking sharp. I'm going to go ahead, do the other side, and then I'll come back to you and show you how to fill in the rest of your brows. Now, to fill in my brows today, I'm going to do a very natural look. I'm using my Motives brow palette, and I'm just going to go in with this right here. Okay, and I'm going to start from this, about this area here. Okay, just from the middle of the brow, go up to the arch, bring it down to the tail, and then I'm going to draw a bottom line. Make this part parallel up to the tail, sorry, up to the arch, bring it down to the tail, okay? So 2 lines before we fill in, because we've got to create the outline and create the shape. Let's do it. Now that we've created the 2 parallel lines, I'm going to go ahead and fill in, starting with the tail end and moving right towards the base of the brow. Okay, so let's fill in with that same color. Now that we've filled in from the middle all the way down to the tail, we're just going to use this lighter color here. This is what I like to do. It is personal preference. I like to fill in just with a lighter color in the base of the brow, just to give it a little bit more of a subtle look, make it a tiny little bit more softer. Only because if you have really dark base brows, then it can look a little bit harsh. Plus, if it's really dark in here, then it pulls your eyes together, okay? So it's very subtle. And powder is great to use because it doesn't require so much precision. Okay, so when you actually use a brow gel, you will need a lot of precision, a lot of control with your application. Whereas this powder, look how I'm just sweeping it in, and it's kind of looks a bit messy when I'm applying it, but it's fine. Okay, so just go ahead and do both sides, and then we're going to clean up with our base. Okay, so I'm going in with the Motives eye base, okay, and this is a great universal color, and what we're going to do is we're just going to carve out the line. So follow this brow line underneath, take it all the way up to the arch, and then bring it down to the tail. And what that's going to do is it's going to serve 2 purposes. One, as an eye base when we apply our eyeshadow, and the next, it's going to create a beautiful line just like this one, so that your eyebrows look really precise and super snatched. Let's get started. Okay, next step is to go in with foundation. So I'm using this one here, Motives in Creamy Natural, and this is the Motives Illuminating Liquid Foundation. And I'm just going to draw a line up here and then match it down. So I don't want to use eye base or something really light. I just want to use a foundation because it's going to blend in with the rest of my forehead. So just take a little bit of that, and then we're going to carve out the line on the top. Okay, and that brings us to the end of this tutorial. So you can see that now, like straight up, all the hair is gone, brows are trimmed, brows are filled in. I just need to do the rest of my makeup. So here's a little close-up of my completed brows, and I shall see you on the next tutorial. Hope you enjoyed.